You're listening to the Bear in Mind podcast, episode number 41.
A podcast uncovering identity, color, and love, where driving yourself crazy is totally sane and curable. Now your host, T. Vias.
I feel like today I'm going to get a little philosophical, so I hope it doesn't go too much in the philosophical direction when it comes to when does your opinion matter. And I've talked about other people's opinions before, and you can find out more about that in episode number 19 and 21. And today I'm going to talk about your opinion and when does it actually matter? And first up, I want to discuss where our opinions come from. And we own our opinions, even though we have all of these influences from our childhood experiences, to the memories that we hold on to images that we see. And although we're influenced, we do choose to take in this information and decide that it's right, it's correct. So although our opinions are influenced so much by our environment and the information that we take in, we can choose to take in that information or not, or investigate that information or not. And one of the interesting things about opinions is that we really want, as human beings, we really want our opinions to be right. And because we want to be right, because it feels good to be right, we will search for evidence that our opinion is right. So we'll decide kind of on opinion, maybe unconsciously, and we'll find evidence in our environment, in the world, whatever we read in the media, that fits our opinion. And so then we never really search for anything to the contrary because our brain is just trained to search for evidence to be right. So that's what's happening internally. But externally, what do you do with your opinion? Do you openly share your opinion with people? Do you only share it with a few people, or do you share it everywhere, like on social media, write comments on people's posts all the time? And depending on what type of culture you've been influenced by, you'll decide kind of how to share your opinion. And for me, I was raised in a South Asian culture, so as a female, sharing your opinion really wasn't valued, and nor was it encouraged at all. And then I lived and worked in the Netherlands, and there everyone shares their opinion on any topic. It didn't matter what, and it didn't even matter if it was polite or not, or worded, like as constructive feedback or something like that. They would just openly say if they didn't like it. And this was everyone on everything. And this was kind of a jolt, to kind of my belief system about opinions, because I never really openly shared my opinion, yet here everyone, it was commonplace. It was what you did in the Netherlands. It would be weird if you didn't actually share your opinion. And in fact, it wasn't really valued that I didn't talk as much or share my opinion at work. One of the things that I saw in myself, I slowly started to kind of adapt and change a little bit and open up more about my opinions. I mean, it was a very long process and something that I'm still working on today. But seeing people share their opinions openly in the context of more of a face-to-face human interaction rather than on a social media interaction was really eye-opening. And it made me think about what kinds of opinions that we share openly. What is actually maybe the way to share your opinion? So this is going to be a little strange. I actually don't think there's a right and wrong way to share your opinion. Like there's kind of like, a polite way or a way to give constructive feedback and things like that. And it'll maybe become more clear as to why there's maybe not a right or wrong way to share your opinion. However, I do think that the content of your opinion is by far more important. So a lot of times when people give their opinions, it's very general. They kind of like something, or they say things about what they think about a certain sex. Oh, men are like this, or, females are like that. And it's often these generalities that the actual content of the opinion, there's actually nothing there. It's kind of like something's good or bad, and you're just judging it. So it comes across more as a judgment rather than a really, what I would say, and I put this in quotes, a good opinion. And how often do you really hear somebody's opinion and not hear a judgment or a generality? So a true opinion, I think, is really about reflecting it for yourself, not what you think society or your parents or what you should think about it, but something that you have thought about for yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you've gone out and done all this research. So if it's about, a diet plan, let's take the South Beach diet. And it doesn't mean you've read everything about it and you know everything about it, or that you've even tried it. But it's your kind of willingness to maybe hear somebody who's been on the South Beach diet and really hear the message or hear their story and think about it for yourself and reflect on that. That helps formulate your opinion. Because oftentimes we can take an opinion and think, oh, it needs to be well researched. And I definitely was this type of person. I was like, I'm not going to state my opinion unless it's well researched and backed up, by several articles or books that I read. And I still kind of do that today. But that's not really what helps you learn. It's actually maybe hearing somebody else's opinion about something and being open to hearing it without your opinions getting in the way, that kind of help formulate your own opinions. So hands down, by far, just listening to somebody else's story helps you get more of an insight into what your opinions are. And then eventually comes to sharing that opinion. And it doesn't need to be a polished opinion, and it doesn't need to be well rehearsed or anything. And this is where the part of just openly sharing your opinion matters. When you go out and you share your opinion openly, even if it's just a generality, like I said, you will find that you will get pushback, and people will say things to you and they'll correct you, and they will, want to have a discussion, or maybe it sometimes might even be an argument. But that process of then not only listening to somebody's opinion, but then going out and stating your opinion will really teach you how to have an opinion, believe it or not. Because you will learn that your opinion is not the truth, and no opinion is the truth. But what you will learn is about how you're thinking about things, and you will learn more about what your opinion is. And you cannot do that if you decide that your opinion doesn't matter. Because when you decide that your opinion matters and you go out and you share it, and I don't mean on social media where you have keyboard courage and you can type something and be anonymous about it. In a face-to-face discussion, you show up with your opinion and you state it. The learning you get from that is going to be by far more beneficial than you can by reading 100 books on one subject, 100 books on the South Beach diet or whatever. And what I don't mean is that your opinion matters more than somebody else's. It means that it equally matters to somebody else's opinion, and that you show up with your opinion knowing that it matters as well as the other person's opinion matters to you. And that's what it means when we talk about when does your opinion matter, because it does matter. And I'll leave you with this thought, even down to the simplest question. When somebody asks you, what's for dinner tonight? Or you're going out with friends or something, do you prefer going out for Italian or sushi or something like that? That you even just decide. Because a lot of times we think, I don't know. And if you're one of those people, and I used to do this, and just decide to have an opinion about where to go for dinner is kind of that first step in like saying, hey, my opinion matters. And so I'm going to wrap it up here. and I'll check back with you next week.
Thanks for listening. Listen for a new episode next Tuesday by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Bye for now.